Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Talos of Tech, EV, space, all the technologies, really. This is going to be a whole separate network. I think we've got so many channels to work with now. Some are tech related, some are more hyper specific tech. So I think we need to just break off from the Tailosive network. We're going to form our own subsidiary. We're going public. We're going to form our own crypto, Talo coin. We're going to form our own country. We're going to take a SpaceX rocket to a new planet. We're going to have a Tailosive planet, and it's going to have its own language. It will not be English. I know, I get that a lot. Most people think I'm older. So, yeah, birthday is tomorrow. I won't be live tomorrow, which is why I'm just bringing it up today. That way we can get all the birthday wishes out of the way, and we can be completely done by Thursday so that no one has to say anything. I always got annoyed with it ever since I had. It feels flashy to say an audience, but as long as I've had some kind of following on the internet, it has bugged me every birthday that my notifications basically get completely thrashed because if people know it's your birthday, people who never talk to you, people who don't care about you, will suddenly want to say the words happy birthday. So initially, for a few years, I decided to not bring it up at all because I was like, I don't want my notifications to get thrashed. My work related social media apps all basically become useless. The comment section's useless. Twitter's useless. Even Discord would all become useless on my birthday because everyone would be saying happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, and so I just decided to keep it a secret. Then it ended up becoming worse. So essentially, everyone would just start trying to figure out when my birthday was, and I would say it's sometime in February. I'm not going to tell you when. So then a bunch of people would just start trying to guess when my birthday is, and some people would even start wishing me happy birthday for like 2 week blocks at a time. And I was like, okay, well, this is exaggerating the problem to the point where now my complaint of my notifications being destroyed is not just restricted to one day, it's being restricted to several weeks. So that's when I was like, okay, I give up. I'm just going to tell everyone my actual birthday, which is February 17th. At the time of streaming this, it is the 16th. I try to stream every other work day. So now that I'm streaming Tuesday, I'll probably stream again on Thursday, which will be post birthday. Yes, it triggers me. But thank you. I appreciate all the birthday wishes. Thank you, Cyber Octoling. And Chris gifted a tier 1 sub and donated 100 bits. Thank you very much. Any plans for tomorrow? Yeah, I think we're going to keep it pretty low key. I'm pretty much going to probably pick up some donuts, which I haven't had donuts in a while. I miss donuts. we were. You're looking at a potential, not potential, you're looking at a legit Krispy Kreme rewards member, which that actually became quite a bit of a problem because we kept seeing either deals or discounts in the Krispy Kreme rewards app, and that would incentivize us to go get some Krispy Kreme donuts to the point that after, I think it was August or September of last year, we just decided this is getting out of control. It's not healthy. We're not going to eat any more donuts for the rest of the year. So we just cut off the Krispy Kreme thing. Yeah, we did a voucher day. Basically, what me and my wife call it is freebie day, which we've actually already done because there's a bunch of rewards apps that will basically give you a free something on your birthday. But they will actually typically give you like a 2 week window. So this is something I recommend everybody do. It's not just me trying to brag. I'm saying legitimately, you guys should do this around your birthday. You gotta. I think there's a big list. It'll depend on where you are and what's nearby, but you can just Google places to go that will give you free things on your birthday. So essentially, you can just stop at all these different places, and each of them will give you something. For us, there is a Cinnabon. They'll give you free little Cinnabon bites on your birthday. But if you're a rewards member, it's just within like a 2 week block. So you don't have to do it specifically on your birthday. You have a couple weeks to do it. Starbucks will give you a free drink. I think Dutch Brothers will give you a free drink. Auntie Anne's Pretzel will give you a free pretzel. Krispy Kreme normally would give you a free donut, but they actually this year I think gave us a free dozen. So it was a free dozen original. It wasn't assorted, but a dozen donuts for free. And Denny's, I believe, will give you a free Grand Slam, which is probably one of the best value things they give away. My birthday is tomorrow, which is why the stream is called My Last Day as a 22-Year-Old. I won't be live tomorrow, though. I'm going to be probably taking a slow day, just kind of chilling, just doing whatever. I'm going to be intentionally lazy tomorrow. I work I work 5 days a week most of the time, and this year I've been trying to get 3 to 4 videos up every single day. So there's a lot of time that goes into my videos, but tomorrow I'm just going to take it slow. I might do a little bit of work, but I'm not going to push it. I'm just going to probably do the bare minimum. Who knows? I might even take the whole day off. I don't know. I'm just going to play it by ear because I normally don't have... I kind of did nothing yesterday. It was a weekend for us, but yeah, just when it is your birthday, someone else's birthday is tomorrow too. Who was it? I saw it here. JPSTIJN says my birthday is also tomorrow. That's awesome. My aunt and I share the same birthday. I also have the same birthday as Larry the Cable Guy and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, also born on February 17th. And there's Cinders says I'm being born tomorrow as well. He's legit being born tomorrow. Flip's table of donuts. Yeah. Oh yeah, Mike got us donuts. I forgot. How could I forget? Rymo, thank you for the early birthday wish for 12 months. See, this is all the stream has become now. We're not even talking about tech. I want to get all the birthday things out of the way because if you don't, then it's just... If you try to do a normal stream and then people realize it's your birthday, then the notifications are just completely destroyed. So, man... Cinders is being born tomorrow, of course. That one guy who walks into a restaurant every time and tells the waiter it's his birthday. That's pretty much us. I mean, I only go to Starbucks on my birthday every year. So, like, pretty much every birthday, we just show up at Starbucks and say, hey, can I get a drink? And that was it. 20 Views says his birthday was yesterday. What's with all the February birthdays? Let's subtract 9 months from February and try to figure out what's going on there. What's happening in July? Right? Like, or June. Is it May or June? It feels birthday, man. Oh, man. Mike spoiled me probably more than anybody on my birthday because he got me I can't believe we did like a whole Twitch stream and we didn't bring this up. The amazing Tesla Semi here. The best Tesla by far. The die-cast model, which is really cool, and I never would have bought this otherwise. I like how the wheels independently turn, just like the real thing. You actually got the axles and all that. It's dope. Look at that. You can see everything turning on the inside. That's trippy. Anyway, I'm amazed this camera is still working. The Blackmagic, we were trying to record, Mike can attest, we were trying to record the EV podcast, and in the middle of it, for whatever reason, the camera's a bit higher because it's on top of the Tesla Semi box, and for whatever reason, the camera just decided... Oops, sorry. I just whipped the crap out of this microphone. The camera just decided, I'm about to head out, and he tipped over and landed right on the floor. And this is pretty high off the ground. I would say it's about 4.5 feet to 5 feet tall. Like, this is a pretty tall chair, and the camera's just a little bit higher. It might be more like 4 feet, actually. Probably 4. But still, it was a long distance for a camera to fall, and somehow it is perfectly sound. Everything about it functionally works, except for one problem, which I can't show you because you're on the lens. But the lens flare guard, the little, the front of the lens that has a bit of a guard around it that prevents light from coming in from an angle, that has basically snapped onto the lens. Part of the plastic broke or something, and now I can't get it off. I've tried numerous times to get the little lens ring off of it. I can't recall the term. I know there's an official term for it, but I can't get it off. And it's slightly off-centered too, so it looks awkward. It's very clunky, but at the same time, you guys can't notice. It doesn't show up on the camera feed, so the lens shroud, is that the term? Whatever it is, it's stuck on there, and I can't get it off, and I've tried manhandling it, probably more so than I should have, given I could potentially break the lens off, but I was just like, I just got to get this thing off. And it doesn't, whatever, it still records. Actually, I don't know if it records. I haven't tried to record since then, but it shows up in OBS, which is good, and it was an expensive camera, so I probably should take better care of it. But yeah, I have to figure out a better way to record in vertical during podcasts, because that's when there's three of us, we got to be in portrait mode. So that way it makes a landscape mode in the video format. But man, I'm amazed. The Blackmagic camera is shockingly, bizarrely durable. The fact that it has a power cable and an HDMI cable plugged into it as we speak, and it can fall off a 4-foot desk. And I mean, it was carpet. It's fair to say the story may have been different if it was not a carpet floor. But I'm not very nice to my technology, to be completely honest with you guys. I have had that same tripod that giant Blackmagic Ursa Mini, even though it is nothing but. The Ursa Mini has been on that tripod. I've had that tripod since high school. I think it was 2015 when I bought it. And it's not in great shape. A lot of the knobs and stuff don't work very well. It used to have a little leveler thing with, just a little bit of liquid in it so you could see the bubble and know when the camera's flat. All of the liquid has come out of it somehow. I don't know what happened. It's not like it's the glass part of it. The plastic little thing that holds the liquid isn't broken. There's just no liquid in it. And one time I moved that camera with its tripod out into the living room to record an EV video. And for whatever reason, the little joints that hold the legs in place, that you want to adjust the height of your tripod, they have little switches and they can adjust in length, and you put them down. For whatever reason, those joints actually give in quite a bit under high weight. So even if the joints are locked and you start leaning on the tripod, the legs will start moving in. And I put it out there to record an EV video, but I hadn't got the microphone yet. So I came back to the office to grab the microphone, and I just heard the loudest, just this super loud crash. And I was just like, oh God, what just happened? And I went out there, and one of the legs on the tripod, even though I had locked it, just the weight decided to give out, and the whole camera fell. And bizarrely, once again, Blackmagic, the camera still works perfectly. This probably happened around a year ago. Oh yeah, it had to have been, because that was back when Louise wasn't working from home. She didn't work from home until April of 2020. This was before that, so I'm coming up on, that was probably around a year ago, and the camera still works. It's recording tech vids and EV vids every single day. The microphone still works on it. The speakers still work. The touchscreen is still interactive. Granted, it's got some scuffs and scratches on it. The lens shroud or whatever still has some scuffs. In fact, that one I think I can still take off. But yeah, it's it's not in great shape. I don't think I could get much for it if I tried to sell it. But I definitely need a new tripod. I have the same situation with my lights. I just haven't felt like it, I feel like I haven't got around to having to make the purchase to replace it with something, because I know that no one notices. So I have this inherent issue with spending money on things that no one will notice and only I will notice. Same thing with my lights. The light bulb is broken in the light I use to record the tech videos. I can't take the bulb out because the socket that goes into the light bulb socket, I don't know the terminology, but the glass part of the bulb has separated from the socket, and I can't take the bulb out. And at certain angles, the power cable going to the light doesn't work, but it has been set up in a position that is so perfect that it does work right here. But if I move the light and if I put it in a different place, it won't work. So I used to bring in this studio light right off camera here every time I would record an EV video, but every time I would bring it out there, it wouldn't work. But it would only work right here. So I'd leave it there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this as long as it's capable of working. And it does. It still lights. It does turn on for every tech video. I've never done a tech video in this room without that light on, that I know of. I can't think of a time that light wasn't available, but there's a bunch of stuff I should replace and just don't, because I'm like, I want to see how far I can get away with not upgrading certain tech if people don't notice or know about it. But yeah, so there's a lot of things breaking, but I'm not the guy to go crazy on equipment spending. Though to replace the stuff I'd be replacing that I just listed probably would not be crazy. I bet it would be somewhat reasonable to replace most of the things I just talked about. You'll tackle that bulb. I don't think like the plastic that holds the socket in place is literally broken. It's not just like it unscrewed. It's literally like plastic in wires have snapped to the point that I think the bulb is worth something like $20. I don't think it's gonna be worth saving. This is why we can't have nice things. We do have nice things when it comes to things you guys see, like iPhones and Apple Watches. Obviously, that's where I go a little crazy because everyone's gonna see me. No, that's not true. I haven't bought that much stuff last year. Pretty much the 12 mini. I kind of don't count the Apple Watch Series 6 because I sold my old watch for a price that covered the entire price. I actually made money by switching to the Series 6 because the guy who bought the Series 4 from me paid more for it than what I paid for the Series 6. So I actually profited off of getting the red watch. So I don't really count that. The 12 mini, I guess I lost money on given, I sold my 11 Pro Max, but it didn't cover the price of the 12 mini. And then the Magic Keyboard case. Other than that, I didn't really buy, I guess MagSafe. I bought the MagSafe charger and MagSafe Duo. That's about it. There wasn't a whole lot of tech purchase last year. We were just doing our taxes. We went through the write-off section. It had never been lower. Like my write-offs in 2018 were so high compared to 2020. Like it was such a short list. It was insanity. High school, what a time. I remember you in high school, Cinders. Did you ever think about going to university or you always wanted to do YouTube? I'm a high school student and I'm just curious. Oh boy, somebody's asking the university questions. Everyone's like, oh boy, you're going to get Drew talking about college and universities. He doesn't stop. Once he get going on that, he won't shut up. Basically, I did 1 year of community college and I hated it. Before that, I was thinking about going to film school. There's a few universities in LA that I was thinking about going to, but I had friends and family go to them, and by the end of them, they weren't interested in making movies anymore. And I was like, well, all these friends and family members are going to film school, and then by the time they're through, they don't want to make movies anymore. So why would I go to film school? Typically, you end up working for someone else, or it's all about who you know, not what you know, and you basically got to put up with a lot of drama to get into a place of power. Otherwise, you're just going to be helping someone else achieve their vision. I didn't really want to just be, the lighting guy or the sound guy or just the editor on someone else's project. I wanted to run my own projects. I wanted to be in control of what I was making, which is why after hearing all my friends and family's experiences of going through film school and what they discovered, I was like, that doesn't sound fun to me. I don't want to do it. So I'm just going to I'm just going to work. I didn't just jump straight into YouTube with no income. I right out of high school, I started working at a mansion ranch, and then I did YouTube on the side. And the mansion ranch job was part-time, but it paid enough. It paid the bills. It allowed me to save up and put money towards YouTube. So that's where most of my money was going, towards tech and smartphones and cameras and stuff, and computers. So that's where most of the mandarin money went. And then after about a year of doing the mandarin ranch job, I was finally making enough off of YouTube that I could quit the mandarin ranch job and just do YouTube full time. And that was around May of 2017. So this year I'll be coming up on my 4th year of doing it full time. And I've loved it ever since then. So there were times in high school, yes, where I was planning on going to a university, but I had so many friends and family go that didn't really enjoy it or didn't come out of university. It's not necessarily that they didn't enjoy it. They just came out of it not doing what they went into it for. Most of the time, what they wanted and what they wanted to do with their career and with their lives would be one thing going in, and then it would be something else going out, which is fine. People figure out what they like and what they prefer, but I wanted to keep doing movies and find ways of creating my own content, and it didn't seem like film school was going to fit that very well. So yeah, that's why I basically gave up on college after 1 year. You should probably just get a new light. Oh yes, I very much should. Oh, you guys could all come here and tell me all the new things I get. Anytime basically someone comes to our house, They typically give us a big list of things we should do, and me and my wife are way more cheap. We could be on that Extreme Cheapskates show. I think we're way cheaper and more budget oriented than I think people realize. When people see a tech channel or when people see an EV channel, they imagine, oh yeah, they're buying all kinds of tech, smartphones, smartwatches. It's like really outside of the tech you guys see me talk about. There's really not much purchasing going on of any kind. We're kind of cheap, everything on the down low, and it's not because we're broke. It's just we want to invest everything, build up our passive income and that kind of thing. Um, and yes, I am 22 today. I'll be 23 tomorrow, but I've heard no one likes you when you're 23. Let's see if anyone gets that reference. Have you tried Unlock with Apple Watch? I've yet to get it to work, and yes, I'm on the latest beta on my iPhone 11 and Apple Watch SE. Um, oh, you mean the with the mask thing? No, I'm not on the beta. I don't know if I don't know if the latest public beta is the one that has that. I don't know. I haven't heard that, but remember when we went to high school together, Drew? Me neither. Did we hang out much in high school? I feel like we did. Me and Cinders, for those who don't know, the mod here, uh, we knew each other before high school because we used to take piano lessons from the same piano teacher, and we did a duet together. Which is, I'm safe to say, he's the only one in this Twitch chat that has done a piano recital with me. We played what was that song called? So basically, it's when like one person's playing on the lower half of the piano and one person's playing on the upper half. So you got four hands on one piano. I think we were pretty good. Cinders was probably a little bit better than me, but we played that song that you hear at baseball games, which is funny because I don't think either of us were baseball fans. He might have been. I'm not. I don't watch baseball. I'm not into it. I have nothing against it. It's not my thing. But we were both playing piano together. I think that was in middle school. But then in high school, we were in film club, if you can remember that, which was basically just Taylosive at high school. Film club was essentially come together and be in Drew's YouTube videos. That's pretty much all it became. But yeah, we go back. Why are so many people love pinging me as soon as I go live? They're just like, Drew's not doing anything. I'm 20. I never would have guessed you were 22. I have heard that quite a bit. A lot of people have said. Someone in the Twitch chat earlier just said I looked like I was 40. Take me out to the SpaceX facility. Yeah, that'd be a good song. I'd sing that. Who needs Apple TV Plus when you have free episodes of I Love Louise on YouTube? Who knew you were a good actor, Drew? Lots of people knew that. I've been acting for years. Yeah. I mean, I Love Louise is a substantially shorter show than anything on Apple TV Plus. But yeah, we've had good responses, I'll say. I mean, we've been doing it for 9 weeks straight now, and we get pretty positive comments every week. Occasional negative, but overwhelmingly positive, which has been fun because we're kind of doing it for ourselves more than anything. But yeah, we're having a good time with it. Let's see. You need to have a passcode on your Apple Watch and turn it on in the iPhone password settings. Oh, yeah, that's important. There's a few settings you have to have turned on. Um, let's see. What's Yash? Yash? That's an interesting name. It's a pretty good success story. Yeah, I know. I'm rare. I'm not most people. I would not recommend most people do what I did necessarily. Um, I mean, I think I feel that way more about marriage. Like, I wouldn't recommend most people get married when they're 20, which is hypocritical because I was married when I was 20, but I was in a very different stage of life than most people at 20 years old. Um, there's probably a decent number of people, not trying to be disrespectful, I'm just saying that uh, there's a lot of factors that goes into like whether or not you're ready to make that kind of commitment with someone. And most people I feel like are not ready for that type of commitment at the age of 20. But I had known Louise and been dating Louise for a while at that point, and both of us were kind of in our careers that we were anticipating pursuing for a long time. So if you're 20, but you're still in school or you're still going to college and you don't know exactly what direction you want to go in or what job choice you want, and you don't know where necessarily that job's going to take you, um, and there's not so much experience with the relationship involved, I'd be like, yeah, most people probably shouldn't get married as early as I did. And the same thing with the job. It's like, I'm not going to say it's a bad idea to just drop out of college and start working at a high school, but I had a plan, and me and my parents had agreed on a plan B as well. So I told them I didn't want to go to college because I felt like I wasn't going to learn much, and I just wanted to work on the Mandarin Ranch and do YouTube on the side, with the eventual plan of YouTube becoming my career and becoming my full time job. And they were skeptical at that because my family is filled with teachers. My aunts and uncles are all teachers. My parents are teachers. My sisters are teachers. All kinds of teachers. And both my older sisters went to college for 4 years straight out of high school. So when I told them I didn't want to go to college, they were kind of like, all right, I guess you can work, but if YouTube isn't going anywhere within the year, then you got to choose something. You got to find a different career path. We're not going to let you just, work at the Mandarin Ranch and do YouTube for fun for 5 years, basically. They were like, you got to have a plan B if this doesn't work out. And the plan B for me was to go to the Lineman's College, which wasn't too far from where I lived at the time, which basically would train you for only about 2 years. The tuition wouldn't be very expensive. It's a trade school. And the plan B was to go there. It would only take 2 years of training, and then you could make pretty good money afterwards, and you work on like power lines, basically. And that's a very specialized job, and that was our plan B if YouTube didn't work out. I wouldn't necessarily recommend people, you know, be either halfway through college, you don't have a degree yet, or right out of high school, just not doing college, not getting a job, and just going straight into YouTube, and you haven't really found much of an audience, or you haven't really gained much of a following, and you're just going to hope it works out. That's probably not what I would recommend most people do. I mean, like, you can do what you want. Obviously, it's your life. But if you're asking for my recommendation, I would most likely tell you, do YouTube on the side of something else, because YouTube is very unpredictable and very all over the place when it comes to incomes. You can have a really, really successful video and be like, cool, I'm blowing up, I'm a huge success. And then the next month it's like, oh, actually no one cares what I have to say. And YouTube gives you no job security. There's no contract. There's no health care. There's nothing that promises you anything. Google is completely within their right if they wanted to. They could just tomorrow decide, we don't feel like paying YouTubers anymore. They would get a lot of backlash, sure, but legally they would not be in any trouble if they just decided, we don't feel like paying you anymore. So to build your whole career and job on it is very, very unreliable. It's very sketchy. And you can have things with like massive advertisers pulling out and just deciding, you know what, YouTube's too sketchy, we don't want to advertise, so your CPMs can just tank for reasons completely out of your control. So that's why I'd say don't don't do YouTube fully without like a really, really solid backup plan. Otherwise you could get in some serious trouble. And in my first few years of doing YouTube, I did not have much of a backup plan. And I'm thankful things worked out, but very few things could have gone wrong and really screwed me up in those first couple of years of being full time. Like, I was basically living paycheck to paycheck. I was not budgeting. I was pretty much buying whatever I could afford. By afford, I mean like it was in my bank account. I would look at my bank account and just be like, okay, that's my budget for this month. As long as I don't have zero, I guess I'm good. And I didn't get into any debt, to be fair, which would have been a big problem if I was like taking out massive loans or paying things off with credit cards. I never did that. I made sure I didn't have any debt. And I also made sure that the offices and apartments I was renting out were not a lease. I didn't have a contract with those. So I made it very clear with the landlord at the time that, like, hey, I could lose my job like at any moment. So don't, am I okay to move out of this place in a week without much notice if I need to? And he was like, yeah, that's fine. We'll just do month to month and you can back out if you need to. So yeah, it was sketchy, and I'm not doing that anymore, thankfully. We have backups upon backups upon backups now. We should be fine even if YouTube crashes and burns. But anyway, that's getting me on the college subject. It never ends. I gotta put a stop to it now. Chris Norton, thank you. Donated 100 bits. It said, you said your iPhone mini dropped 1. My iPhone 11 Pro has 6% within 1 year. Yeah, that sounds normal. 1 year of usage dropping 3 or 6%. Typical battery health. There's so many factors that go into it. People love sharing their battery health, I've noticed. Whenever I bring it up, I always get like 80,000 people on Twitter that just like, hey, this is mine. All the comments, and I have this after this much time. Drew, that's not anything bad. Mine was way worse than that, and mine's way worse than that. There's so many factors, though. It depends on how low you get your iPhone, how high you let your iPhone get, and how long you keep it at that. And also temperatures even impact your battery health greatly. Like how long is it stored in colder temperatures versus warmer temperatures? Are you doing higher intensive things on it that result in the battery getting a lot warmer? How you charge it, how fast you charge it. There's so many factors to the point that I just do not care. I was a little bit shocked to see the battery health percentage go down by 1, but it wasn't like oh no, I'm going to charge differently now. I really don't care about battery health that much. And I genuinely feel like the reason Apple didn't want to include this feature was because they knew people would be super duper paranoid about it. And now everyone's like, oh, I lost 6% or mine's 83% and I might, whatever your percentage is after X amount of time. It really doesn't make that big a difference. Your battery capacity being 90% of what it was on launch is still fine. It's still pretty good. It's just like, okay, you got to charge it a little bit more. So I don't care too much about battery health. Even if I planned on keeping this phone for 4 years, I wouldn't change the way I charge it. I'm also on the portless challenge. I guess I'm back on it. I just haven't plugged anything into it for a while. Just all in on MagSafe. Anyway, Michael Miller says, do you think we will see an updated Magic Keyboard case with new iPad Pros next month? Maybe function keys or Force Touch trackpad? No, not likely. The main reason they didn't put a Force Touch trackpad in is because Force Touch takes up a lot more space, and the Magic Keyboard is very, very thin and light. Relatively light. I get that as a whole it's kind of heavy, but fitting a Force Touch trackpad in this is going to be pretty tricky. And the function keys they didn't do because there's not a lot of room for them. With this floating design, if you add function keys to the top, you're going to be kind of reaching underneath the iPad and bumping the bottom part. So there's not really a ton of room for them. So I don't expect that to happen. It'd be kind of nice if they had some keys there, but honestly, it's not been a major issue for me. I would just mind a few more shortcuts. Like if you could just have some shortcuts to change the display brightness or the volume. I don't think the Magic Keyboard for the iPad needs function keys. I think there's software ways to work around it, and with this floating design, adding function keys here would just be kind of busy. It just wouldn't look very nice. Maybe there's a way they can figure it out, maybe to just push the keys closer together. You've got a little bit of a gap here. Maybe they could lower this a bit more, push the keys a little bit closer together. I don't know. It's fine like this. I already was kind of having a hard time justifying the cost. $350 for a keyboard case is a lot, but it is pretty nice. Mainly the being able to detach it like that is the easiest thing about it, and that's pretty much worth the price alone for me. Just being able to dock and undock so easily. It basically lets my iPad feel like it has a wireless charger, because I'll just keep the keyboard case plugged in, and I use my iPad for making video thumbnails and that. Yeah, to those Horseman of the Apocalypse, I do use my iPad quite a bit. Every video thumbnail is made on the iPad. I do a lot of masking on this. I use it for Discord every day, for Twitter every day, for email every day. It's by far still my favorite Apple product out of everything in the ecosystem. This is my favorite. And the Apple Pencil's really handy for making concept artwork work and masking out things correctly. And Over is great for making video thumbnails and that kind of thing. So I still use it pretty much daily. But when the Magic Keyboard case is plugged in, I can just drop the iPad on it. I don't have to touch any wires, but it just starts charging. It's great. I love it. So I think we could get some new iPad Pros next month, if that's what you're excited for. There's rumors still brewing of mini LED making its debut next month. If there's an event, um, given we got like 3 events in a row in the last 6 months or so, was it 6 months or not even that? Like 4 months. We had a September event, October event, November event. Apple seems to be kind of excited about having events now that they can do them online, and they get to film them and edit them however they want. So I don't see why they won't have a March event, knowing how many they had, and site refreshes, by the way. Like, they do the November event, and then weeks later they do AirPods Max, which I don't know why they couldn't do that at a keynote, but they decided to do it. So I'm guessing we'll probably have a March event this year, and at that event, yeah, AirTags, iPad Pro, that kind of stuff. But a new Magic Keyboard case, I'd be pretty surprised by. From what I've read so far on the Mini LED iPad Pro refresh, it sounds like it'll still work with traditional Magic Keyboard cases. So I won't have to buy a new keyboard for the new Mini LED iPad to work with this, which is nice. If they do make it so that you need to buy a whole new keyboard, that's messed up, and I'm definitely not getting one if that's the case. I still haven't really decided if I want to keep the Mini LED iPad Pro when it comes out. I think I need to see it. I think that's what everything has come back to. Like, if there's some type of software exclusives, like with the A14X chip, we can do Final Cut Pro on the iPad now, but you can't do Final Cut Pro on the older iPads. That would convince me to keep it. I'll definitely buy one to review, but I at this point I'm feeling like I should probably return it because I'm not going to utilize it very much. I've never seen a mini LED display. To this day, I've still not seen a Pro Display XDR because my local Apple store doesn't have one, and the only times I've been outside of the jurisdiction of that local Apple store, it's been during the pandemic, where the only time you can go to the Apple store is like in appointment only. So yeah, I would love it if they brought Final Cut and Logic and Xcode. I wouldn't use Logic and Xcode. I would only use Final Cut. But if there's some type of major software exclusive on the new iPad Pro that you could only get on that one because it has the A14X chip, then I would be like, okay, now I can justify keeping it. But if there's no software exclusives and the only thing that new iPad has going for it is the mini LED display, it's kind of a harder sell to me because my 2018 iPad Pro is still just so perfect. I have so little complaints with it. I don't use that thing and think, oh man, I wish it had better dynamic range. Oh man, I wish the black pixels were darker. I really never noticed that when using it. The display is great. I love the 120 hertz. It's super duper responsive. The colors are still fantastic to me, and most of the time I use it inside, so brightness isn't really a major concern for me either. So it's not that the newer iPad Pro coming out is bad. It's just that this is still so good that dropping is kind of expensive too. This thing was like $1,000, not counting the keyboard case, which was $350, and not counting the Apple Pencil 2, which was $130. So it's like a $1,500 setup here, and if I got a new one, that's another $1,000. If you want a higher storage configuration, it'll probably be more than that. That's a lot of money to drop on just, like, what am I actually getting out of that? I'd be like, okay, I got the dual camera on the back, which honestly I hardly use this camera. You got LiDAR, which I don't care about LiDAR. The main difference would be mini LED versus this Liquid Retina LCD, but I don't hate this Liquid Retina LCD. So if I buy the new iPad Pro and it has mini LED and it just looks amazing, and I've just, it's like seeing a color you've never imagined before. I'm just like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. That I could see myself keeping it, but I need to see it. I've decided for myself that there's no way I can decide if I want to keep it or not without seeing it. At this point, my guess would be I'm going to look at it and say, yeah, mini LED is a little bit better, but that's not a good enough reason for me to drop $1,000. Even if I tried to sell this iPad Pro, I probably couldn't get that much for it, and it would end up becoming a $500 upgrade. And I don't know if I'm willing to put $500 into mini LED, especially if a lot of these rumors lately are pointing to the idea that they're going to do mini LED this year, and then next year the iPad Pros are going to switch to OLED, because apparently OLED is still technically better than mini LED, which makes me just think like, okay, so is mini LED not even that great in the first place? I don't know. There hasn't really been a mainstream consumer product with mini LED launched yet. So it's kind of uncharted territory. So I definitely need to see it. I don't know if I'll keep it, but I'll for sure 100% I'll buy one to review. So you'll get my opinions and unboxing video and all that. I'll still do that. I love the iPad Pro. It's my favorite Apple product. So even if they do a minor incremental refresh like they did last year, I'm still gonna buy it just to give you my feedback on it. Honestly, I was really really close to keeping the 2020 iPad Pro. I almost did because I kind of liked that 11-inch form factor so bad, and I kind of fell in love with that updated design. But I knew that in the end I would still be losing money, and the Magic Keyboard case was just around the corner, and I knew I was gonna want the bigger keyboard. Looking at the compact 11-inch Magic Keyboard, I was like, no, I don't want to buy the cheaper Magic Keyboard. I want to get the full size one if I'm going to use my iPad like a 2-in-1. If I had a MacBook, I would be more inclined to use the 11-inch iPad Pro. But now, most recent reports are saying the mini LED iPad Pro will only be on the 12.9-inch variant, not the 11-inch variant. So I'm like, I don't know. That's a lot of money. It could be more than that. Who knows? With this mini LED iPad, it might end up being like a freaking $1,500 iPad for all we know. RAM is the main reason for no Final Cut. Yeah, that makes sense. The RAM's pretty low. But you can still do a lot with iPad OS with 4 gigs. I mean, have you seen LumaFusion? LumaFusion can do a lot with the iPad Pro, so I wouldn't be shocked if they could make it work with Final Cut, but I get it. Obviously more RAM would be better. Do you watch stuff on TV much? And if so, how's your TV screen compared to something like your iPad? They're pretty similar. I mean, my TV is not 120 hertz. I'm not really like a huge TV junkie. Like, we bought some I think it was $400 TCL 4K HDR TV that had Roku built into it. And I bought that in 2018, and we're still using it today. It's great. I love it. The built-in speakers are wonderful. I love having one remote. That's a pet peeve of mine, is having lots of remotes for a TV setup. So the fact that I can change the volume and the inputs and go to all the different streaming channels is wonderful to have on just one device. I don't need 18 remotes. And yeah, we watch TV after work mostly, and I put stuff on the TV when I record EV videos. So yeah. We've been discovering a lot of free streaming services though. There's actually quite a few to choose from. It's 55 inches is the size. OLED iPad Pro will be branded as iPad Pro Pro. Yeah, they're not Pro Max. They just got to add another Pro to the end of it. Do you utilize widgets on your home screen, or do you not really use them? I really don't use them very much. My go-to home screen doesn't actually have any. I do have a bit on this. I like being able to see a little bit of my wallpaper, so then I switch between stocks and the batteries widget on the. But that's about it. I mean, the widgets are not that useful. When they first came out, I was so excited. I was like, wow, I never thought Apple would actually do the home screen widgets thing. And I started trying to add some to my home screen, and I was like, they're not that useful, honestly. Like, the clock widget is just this giant clock. The weather widget, I mean, they don't update very frequently, and the music widget is pointless. You just open it and start playing music. I mean, the fact that the widgets aren't interactive make them very, very hard to properly utilize, which is why my home screen hasn't changed very much. I just got that one little corner widget. They're too big. I don't know why they have so many widgets that are like this, that take up like half your screen. They needed like little 2x1 widgets. In my opinion, the beauty of a widget should be it allows you to not have to open an app. And by not making them interactive, they severely limit the functionality of the widgets, which is why I'm convinced they did that on purpose. I think they introduced widgets at first to be like, hey, here's some widgets you can toy around with. And then this year, or maybe next year, they'll finally be like, okay, now widgets can be interactive so that you feel like there's a big upgrade. It's like, okay, cool. Now there's a now playing widget. You can skip and pause music right from the home screen. Right now, I still have to go to Control Center to do that, which is annoying. I don't know why they decided it was a good idea to make them non-interactive. There's no way someone internally was just like, that's the right choice to make. If you want to interact, then you gotta open the app. You gotta fully fledged open it. Which I'm like, Come on. Oh, sorry. My wife's texting me. Okay. Mini LED 16-inch iPad Pro Max. Yeah, that wouldn't bend, would it? One product I'm hoping to see one day is PowerBeats Pro with ANC. Oh, that would be interesting. I guess they don't have ANC, huh? That seems believable. If they're going to release another version of PowerBeats Pro, why can't they have ANC? They just have to increase the price a little bit? Whatever. My 10R is 88% after 2.5 years. That's not bad. 88% is pretty good. Greg Dive says, before I got my watch and AirPods, my iPhone 11 was at 98%. Now it's 88%, but it's COVID, so whatever. Wow. You mean battery health or just battery life? Mike says, season 2 of I Love Louise better have a dynamic arcing plot and more outdoor sets. So we already got suggestions. Outdoor sets are complicated because people love trying to find where I live, which I don't like. And whenever we go outside, people can be like, okay, triangulate that position right there. And with the pandemic, it's harder. Maybe we'll wait until the world is a bit more safe. Can do some more outdoor skits. Truth is, not a lot of our life is outdoors in the first place. I can't believe people are still saying, can we get a Talos of Space channel? Why don't you try looking for it first and then get back to me? Let's see. We do watch stuff on TV. The 2020 models will probably also drop on the refurbished store. You get 128 gigabytes of standard 2, so those are going to be a steal if they're roughly the same price as the 2018 refurbs. Yeah, the thing about the refurbs are they're really hard to find. Like, my God, it was so brief, and I was so excited when I saw it, but very briefly, you could get an 11-inch iPad Pro from 2018 for $550. It was certified refurbished from Apple, so you got new battery, new glass, basically brand new, and I was just like, holy crap, $550? That's a steal for Face ID, 120 hertz, A12X chip. You still got the smart connector. You got Apple Pencil 2 support. And I was like, that is, in my opinion, like a million times better than the iPad Air 4. And yet, I guess the certified refurbished were so hard to come by because iPad Air 4 is selling great, apparently. And that's $600, and it's 60 hertz with Touch ID. I don't love the Air 4. Have I mentioned that? I don't like the price it is for the compromises. Like, I feel like $600 would be okay if it had Face ID, but it doesn't. And if it doesn't have Face ID, I'd be okay if it was $500. But because it's both Touch ID and $600, something about that feature set with those prices just kind of offsets me. I'm just kind of like, come on. The Air is just a tiny bit overpriced. It would be even easier to love if it was $550. Even if it was $550, I'd be like, okay, that's pretty decent. But $599? Oh, and on top of that, it's $599 and it still starts with 64 gigs. And there's no 128 gig. So you have to opt for 256, which is like another, what is it, like $200 or something? It's like, I don't know. I had a lot of hope and a lot of excitement leading up to the iPad Air 4, but then I don't love the Touch ID thing on the power button. I'm sure it's simple and convenient to unlock. I just feel like it's an extra, you got to do another step. It's just a little bit slower than Face ID. Yeah, the colors are great. I agree. The color options are nice. I got nothing against color options. Having more colors for the iPad lineup or the Mac lineup, I don't care. More colors, more power to you. But the pricing for the features just kind of bugs me. Oh, well. Oh, my God. I can't believe Nick is texting me as I'm live that he is live. He texts me a link to his live stream. Nick, you know I'm live too, right? Everyone wants to live at the same time. Not having 128 base was the biggest mistake. I don't know if it was the biggest mistake. I would say the price is the biggest. I wouldn't mind 64 gigs if it was $500. to me that would be understandable. I'd be like, okay, $500, 64, whatever. You gotta give cheapest of the cheap. You gotta really cut corners on this thing. I wish Apple would fix the iPhone 12 colors. The blue was too dark, red was too pink, green was too light, and they need to add more colors to the Pro models. Well, Cosminator, they gotta have something to improve this year. I'm pretty sure that's pretty much their logic there. They're just like, we need to make the iPhone 12 bad in some way so that we can improve it in 2021 with the 12S. It's not another step as long as you just turn on your iPad with the power button because there is rest to unlock. Yeah, but with the Magic Keyboard, most don't. Most of the time, you don't. I can't recall the last time I used the power button. Most of the time, the thing is, when you don't have a home button, most of the activation of the iPad Pro come from, clicking the trackpad or tapping the display. This is my go-to for a lot of unlocking. Is just like unlocks, just like that. So you can tap the keyboard, you can tap the display to wake it up. Whereas the Touch ID thing is you have to rest your finger here, and then you rest it there to unlock. It's just a little more clunky. Let's see. Taylor's fitness channel. There's no channel to be had. Eat healthier, work out. Done. Remember the iPad mini leaks? Yeah, they're still there. They're just sad. We'll probably get a new iPad mini this year. It's just not going to be the one we wanted. Are you looking forward to the new iPad Pro next month? Yeah, I want to see it. There's not a whole lot Apple is doing this year that I'm super excited for outside of the iMac. That's top of my list by far. I want to see the redesigned iMac with Apple Silicon, and I do plan on buying that if it's priced well. iPad Pro is kind of I'm curious. I wouldn't say like super duper excited, but I've been hearing a lot about mini LED for a long time, so I'd love to actually see it soon. No iMacs in March. It could be. There were some reports saying first quarter of this year we would see at least one redesigned iMac. It's possible that they could do the 24-inch iMac first and then do the 32-inch iMac later in the year. I'm really going to be annoyed if they do that because whatever size the redesigned iMac is, I'm going to want to see it and I'm going to want to try it. So if they release a 24-inch iMac, I'll probably pick one up. I don't know if I probably won't keep it, but just to see it and try it out and see the updated design and everything is going to be really tempting. But then I'm probably going to have to return it, and because I tried a 32-inch monitor for a while and I really fell in love with that, and now I'm just using the 27-inch iMac Pro screen, and this just feels a little bit smaller and a bit less comfortable after I got really comfy with the 32-inch. So going to 24 though. That's, I don't know. That to me might be a tad too small because to me 27-inch feels a bit small. I have a big desk and I like big screens, especially if I'm going to be editing and doing, like right now. I'm looking at my Twitch window. I'm looking at you guys in the chat. I'm looking at OBS and I'm also seeing Twitter. There's a lot of different stuff to interact with. And the smaller the screen, the harder it is to compete with space with all those different things. 32 inches, I really, really loved with the BenQ monitor. I still got it. It's right. You can see it on the floor there. Just for the sake of minimalism and trying to declutter, I got rid of all the monitors on my desk. I used to have a bunch, and it was just overbearing, kind of overkill. But I still love that monitor, and I would love it if there was a way to have an all-in-one Mac that was also a 32-inch panel, and it sounds like that's what the redesigned iMac is going to be. So if I have to wait for the 32-inch model, I will, but it's just going to kill me if they release a 24-inch one. And now the updated design is out and everyone's seen it and I've tried it myself, but I'm still going to be stuck with the iMac Pro because I'm waiting for that bigger iMac. I'm just going to be like, the waiting game just keeps killing me. Who knows? Maybe I'll try a 24-inch iMac and be just like, you know what? It's actually not that bad. I could get used to this, and maybe I'll just keep that. I don't know. Are you okay with paying more for the inevitable 6K iMac? I don't care about resolution. I've been on the record many times saying I think 5K is too high for the iMac, and I would have bought a 1440p iMac Pro if they had one. If the pixels per inch on a monitor this large makes so little difference from the average viewing distance. I know because I've used a 1440p monitor alongside my 27-inch iMac, and it's been great. It's been fine. I didn't notice a difference in quality at all. It still looked wonderful. So I don't care about the resolution very much at all. Basically, as long as you're above 1440p, it's good for me. Um, yeah, I don't need to wait or stick around for a 6K iMac. If it is 6K, okay, cool. I guess I get an extra few pixels, but it's not a top feature for me. Refresh rate matters way more. I've tried a few curved monitors. I didn't like them. They looked weird to me. Let's see. Didn't you used to have a 144 hertz monitor that had basically Discord on it? Yeah, I did use that Predator monitor for a while. I eventually decided that that refresh rate was going to waste, so I let my friend borrow it. Um, but then he had to get evacuated because of some of the fires, and I think the monitor broke in the moving process. But anyway, it's in the past. 1440p at 140 hertz is way more noticeable to me than 1440p versus 5K. I think it's kind of placebo. I think people think there's a difference because they know there's a difference. They're like, okay, that one's 1440p. I know that, so let me compare it to my 5K. I can tell there's a difference. But like average, unless I get you can tell the difference when you're pixel peeping. If you like get really close to the monitor and look at the pixels, yeah, you'll see a difference. But when you're just sitting there editing at a desk, I don't see it. There's not a functional advantage that 5K offers over 1440p. It's just I notice it when I look really close. Um, Patent doesn't mean anything. I don't think the iPhone's getting 240 hertz. um, are you sad that Apple's closing sideloading on M1 Max? Not really, just because I don't sideload on Macs. I don't. It sucks that they do, but it doesn't impact me very much, so I'm not super sad about that. Um, I have, yeah, on the new Talos of Tech podcast, we did talk a lot about the Intel advertiser campaigns. It's annoying. Can we get Max LED? I don't even know what that is. Is motion for Final Cut worth it? Nah, not really. I do have it, but I don't know. Unless you really, really know what motion is going to be used for, I don't use motion on a daily basis to let you know. I am technically a professional YouTuber, and I don't really utilize motion on a daily basis. But if you know exactly what you would use it for, it can be worth it. Like the Talos of Tech intros and outros and stuff, those were all made with motion. Nick Ann Sweeney made them. Um, but if you're making that kind of stuff all the time, I guess it's worth it. But can't wait for another good morning next month. He hasn't been saying good morning the last couple events, though. He didn't say good morning in the Mac event or the iPhone event. He just kind of was like, welcome. Yeah, I know it's disappointing, but it's just a fact. I mean, I've been following Apple patents for years, and I must say, majority of the time there's a patent for something that Apple files, it means it never comes out. There's been very few times a product has come out and I'd be like, oh, I remember the patent for that. Like never happens. Almost never. Yeah, if you get the Pro Apps for Education bundle, it's definitely worth it. You'll get Motion included with that, and it includes Final Cut Pro, which is cheaper than buying Final Cut Pro separately. Yeah, if you get the Education bundle, they just throw in Motion anyway. So for that alone, you'll get it. But will you use it on a daily basis? I don't know. Yeah, law of diminishing returns. That's why 1080p still looks great for a lot of people, is because after 1080p, it starts to become a debate of pixel peeping. It just becomes this, oh, can you tell that? Oh, yeah, it is a little sharper, huh? That's just what it turns into. Um, well, it was split on the last moment. They still had intro shots, though. It doesn't make sense for Tim Cook to stand there and say, welcome. Today we're excited to talk about new product categories. If it was all filmed as one event, they wouldn't. If they were going to reshoot the intro, he could just say good morning again, but he chose not to. Either way. Yeah, if you can get that discount, there's nothing wrong with it. What happened to Talos of Gaming? Well, basically, I've tried to make all kinds of gaming content over the years. None of it really took off, and I wasn't ever super passionate about it in the first place. So I'm just busy working on channels that people do watch. So that's where all my attention is devoted to. And I didn't really play many games in my personal life anyway. And I think that there was probably a way to make gaming successful, but it just required a lot of time and dedication that I didn't have. So yeah, it's pretty much dead. Yeah, I'm not near anywhere that has the Mr. Beast burger. I'm kind of way out in the middle of nowhere. We don't have any food delivery like DoorDash and Uber Eats and that kind of thing. They don't work where I live because I'm in a very rural area. So I haven't been near a Mr. Beast burger location. I want to try one though. I love burgers. It looks great. Anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm gonna get going now. Got some more videos to work on, but thank you all for the birthday wishes. It's my last Twitch stream as a 22-year-old, and I will see you guys probably on Thursday, and I'll be 23. You know what that means? When you turn 23, nothing happens. You just went around the sun. Congratulations. Bye, guys. Have a great day. Take care.